What if the worst part of infidelity isn't getting caught? What if it's the quiet unraveling that happens afterwards, the kind nobody sees coming? Because here's the truth: most people who cheat think they've gotten away with it. They've deleted the text messages, they've covered their tracks, they've looked their spouse in the eye and smiled. But consequences don't always show up in the moment. Sometimes they wait. And if you're watching this, you're either trying to do one of two things: either to understand what has happened to you, or you're trying to make sure you don't end up on the wrong side of this story. Before we go deep, let's do a quick gut check. Lighthearted, but real. Now answer this. What would your phone say if it could talk? If it had to explain where you've been, who you've been texting, and what you've deleted? Would it clear your name, or would you be busted? Don't worry, I'm not checking screen time. This isn't about guilt. This is about awareness. What story would your silence tell if she never found out? If that question made your stomach flip or your heart drop, you are not alone, because here's the truth. Emotional drift often begins before the betrayal ever happens. Let's talk about how it really starts. He told himself it was harmless. Just a coworker. It's just lunch. Just a few late night DMs. But here's the thing. The affair started long before the first kiss. Infidelity does not begin with betrayal. It begins with entitlement, with convincing yourself that your needs, your emotions, or your boredom justifies the secret. Cheating always starts in the mind, and the mind will justify anything when it doesn't want to feel convicted. It's like a car drifting into the other lane. You didn't mean to. You weren't even speeding, but the slow drift is still deadly. The body might cheat once, but the heart often cheats long before it actually happens, which is why I always say, don't follow your heart, because it will lead you off a cliff. But if you think nobody saw it, if you think you got away with it, this next truth may stop you dead in your tracks. I know a man who had an affair that no one found out about. He stayed married, he kept his job, he maintained his image. But 5 years later, his marriage was hollow. His kids did not respect him, his heart was numb. And he told me this: it would have been easier to confess than to live haunted. So here's the thing. You might outsmart your spouse, but you will never ever outrun your own soul. And most importantly, you'll never fool the one who created marriage in the first place. You may not want to hear this, but it has to be said with honesty and with clarity. Full stop. God hates a divorcee, and he holds marriages accountable, not because he wants to punish you, but because marriage was designed to reflect his loyalty. So when you break that covenant, you don't just cheat on your spouse, you cheat on him. And this is a relationship you don't want to mess up. Never forget this. You may delete the evidence, but you cannot delete the consequences. Sowing and reaping is like planting seeds underground. You don't see them right away, but just give it some time and the harvest will find you. This is not about judgment. It's mercy, because if you're still breathing, you still have time to turn it around and make things right. Now, let's go ahead and flip the coin and talk about the other kind of pain, the one that comes after you have been cheated on. I spoke to a woman who found out about the affair from a receipt in her husband's pocket. She said, "I didn't just lose trust. I lost myself. I questioned my worth, my beauty, my value, my memory, everything." Cheating just doesn't shatter promises. It shatters perception. The betrayed partner begins to doubt their own reality. They replay moments and they wonder, was it all fake? They carry a weight they're not responsible for, but they still have to heal from it. When you betray somebody's trust, you don't just break their heart, you break how they see themselves. It's like breaking a mirror and expecting someone to use it to do their makeup. The reflection is still there, but it is cracked, distorted, and fragile. If you've been betrayed, your identity is not broken, but it may take time to believe that again. And for those who did betray their marriage, the real question is, can you ever be trusted again? There's this man who confessed after cheating, not because he got caught, but because he couldn't live with himself. He told his wife everything, gave up his passwords, changed his number, went to counseling, and 3 years later, they're still together. He told me the only way forward was to give up control and rebuild with honesty. If you're broken trust, you cannot demand forgiveness. You can only demonstrate change. You cannot shortcut healing. You have to outlive your past with consistent, humble action. Healing begins when ego ends and humility walks in. Think of trust like a savings account. You've just made a massive withdrawal. Now it's time to make deposits every day. No skipping. Don't expect your wife to trust your words. Show her a new pattern of faithfulness, but it's going to take some time. But if you're not there yet and you're still on the fence, this final point is for you. I once mentored a younger man who was texting a woman behind his wife's back. I asked him, "What's your exit strategy when this blows up?" He had no answer. So I told him, picture the aftermath before the moment. If you're thinking about crossing the line, pause and ask yourself, what will this cost me? What will it do to my wife's smile? What will my son or daughter think of me if he finds out? And most importantly, what will God think? Let me be real clear. The fantasy will fade, but the fallout, it's going to stay to haunt you for a very long time. Cheating is like lighting a match in a dry forest. The warmth lasts seconds. The fire lasts years. You don't need another reason to cheat. You need a powerful reason not to. There's this couple that I admired, and they faced infidelity, but the husband, he came clean. They prayed together. They went to therapy together. He stopped defending his actions. He cried. He changed. He took full ownership of his selfishness. And today, they speak publicly to help others heal and avoid this. Why? Because the truth saved what lies were destroying. Infidelity doesn't have to be the end, but it will be if you don't confront it with truth, humility, and accountability. Your marriage may survive the betrayal, but it won't survive the cover-up. If you're on the edge, don't jump. If you're in the dark, simply turn on the light. And if you're ready to change, start today. In this video, we uncovered the emotional cost of infidelity. We exposed the mindset behind betrayal, the spiritual and emotional accountability that follows, and the trauma it causes the one betrayed. We also explored the path to restoration through humility, truth, and consistent change. If this hit you hard, good. Not because you deserve pain, but because sometimes the pain is the beginning of your healing. If you're serious about changing or recovering, get your copy of the I Will Be My Best Today journal. Use it to process your story, to write down your why, and to become the man you were meant to be. The link is in the description below. Drop a comment if this spoke to you. Share it with a friend who needs truth over comfort, and tell them, don't do it. It's just not worth it. And subscribe, because becoming better doesn't need permission, just intention.